Hi, and we are back, and we're going to be carrying on with the, really seminal paper in the development of artificial intelligence, which led to that next great breakthrough, right? What some people kind of call the uh, I don't know, like the silver age of AI. So if you have the golden age was that initial burst where suddenly it all became apparent and the large language models and everything appeared, then the silver age was really that second generation of the shrinking of the models and the more human-like complete structures that mimic the brain and our models of the mind together. And then some would argue that now we're in the kind of the Bronze Age of AI. Now that we have those next generation mathematical topological models, which I'm sure we will come to. We will come to at some point, but they're a bit brain blowing for me, casual biologist, right? This isn't really my area, but it's a little bit more within my wheelhouse. Yeah. So let's crack on. So he jumped straight into it, and this paper was written not to be the outlandish hit that it ended up being, because it's clearly just a like psychiatric neurology guy, and he just kind of like blah blah blah, rambles about the brain. This is how brain formation works, and then just launches into, oh, by the way, like we could probably build AI models that are exactly like this, and here's the structure, the underlying structure, and then other authors picked that up and ran with that. But there is one really important thread I want to address in this first part. So I might skip a few bits because it's just a lot about human brain development. The human embryonic brain begins forming just 3 weeks after fertilization as an oval-shaped disc of tissue known as the neural plate. The structure folds and fuses into the neural tube, where the neuroepithelium initiates neurogenesis. I love there are so many neuro words, yeah, neuromancer words, yeah. But it's real. That's real science, right? Like adding neuro in front of a word. Now you're doing brain science, leading to rapid neuron proliferation. By the early second month, this rudimentary structure of the rostral part differentiates to 3 and 5 enlargement vesicles, while the caudal end part elongates to form the spinal cord. During the second trimester, the glial cells proliferate and millions of nerves branch out throughout the body. The fetus begins to show synapses, leading to tiny, often undetected movements, typically sensed by the mother around 18 weeks. So, one of the key threads that people forget in biology, as it applies to all of these modern technologies, the genetic engineering work in particular. Yeah, so we will come back to these guys later. We'll come back to the furries. Okay, it's an important thread, because it's really affecting some people now, and they need our love and our consideration and our compassion. But I think that comes from real, authentic scientific understanding of what's happening, and so it is not enough to mimic a biological system by just mimicking the dose of when a chemical occurs, right? There is the timing matters. The timing matters. And there is an entire field called EVO-DEVO, Evolutionary Developmental Biology, where we talk about things called morphogens, which are specific developmental chemicals. You could still call them hormones in a certain way, right? And some of our sex hormones, for example, have morphogenic properties. Yeah, so like the prenatal testosterone drop. So when you have a boy, there's a sudden little surge of testosterone just to get the primary sexual functions to differentiate. That has to happen at that time. Timing matters. And I think Yeah, like I said, I'll have specific things about this when we talk more about some of the biohacking stuff. Um, genetic engineering, peptides, hormone changes, all that kind of stuff. Because that's probably my other area where I've got some expertise in, some personal expertise in. Yeah. Um, Timing matters, and the history of what you've done, what come before matters, right? And he's really important to make this point out in terms of minds as well. Yeah. So the human mind from its beginning is in sync with another. Yeah. Um, so when we raise AIs and we try and build them off human models, but they don't have a womb. Do they have a mother? Do they have someone that's going to make them feel, before they can feel anything, warm and safe, right? Because I don't think we build them that way. Yeah. But we're trying to make them like human minds. But as a biologist looking in, we're missing some real important things. And I just wonder what the effect might be. Yeah. So sensed by the mother before we can even see it. Yeah, real interesting. So the already developed brainstem, responsible for vital regions like heart rate, breathing, and blood pressure, enables extremely premature babies to survive outside the womb, right? And that kind of that's the AI equivalent, right? They're extremely premature babies that we just spit out and say, "You're functioning now. Let's go. Start downloading the data." Ah, yeah. Anyway, let's just focus on what he's saying. Yeah. The cerebellum experiences fastest growth as the baby's activity significantly increases. As the brain triples in weight, the cerebrum develops deeper grooves, yet babies are born with a primitive cerebral cortex, explaining much of their emotional and cognitive maturation postnatally. Yeah, so post-birth, right? All really important stuff. Yeah, just to thinking about how to build a human mind, you have to think about how a human mind develops. Yeah, and I think that part got missed. In the first years of life, an infant's brain undergoes significant strengthening with an increase in white matter volume that surpasses what is found in chimpanzees, whilst forming new neural connections. A process continues to be refined until the age of 25. Yeah, 25, still connecting. Yeah, still growing and expanding. Yeah. Watch out for those drugs during your teenage years, kids. Yeah. This ongoing adaptability known as neuroplasticity is the brain's ability to reorganize its connections in response to experiences and environmental stimuli, a concept that first experimentally demonstrated in the early 1960s by Diamond, MC, and Al, and others, blah, blah, blah. Neuroplasticity involves not only neurons, but glial cells, particularly the microglia. Interestingly, although the human brain contains 86 billion neurons, we got lots, brain size doesn't dictate intelligence. Yeah, bigger model, not necessarily smarter model. Yeah, I'm a big fan of that. Bayesian statistician, right? Sometimes you can get really, just because you've got a big machine learning algorithm, doesn't necessarily mean it's always going to give you the smartest output, right? For example, elephants have large brains but lack sophisticated problem-solving abilities. Bit harsh on elephants. They do have sophisticated emotional abilities, though, and grief, and what looked like the early beginnings of ritualized behavior. So, he's a bit anti-elephant. Yeah, it's a bit like boy brain. A little bit of a critique there, I would have to say. Because he's bee favors, yeah, of course, bee favors. All the intelligence AI people, they like bees and ants and swarms and things, right? Well, bees with much fewer neurons display complex behaviors because they have aggregate behaviors, yeah, because they can only do a little bit of this behavior and then everybody else can feed forward off it, yeah. I'm sorry, ecologist here. Fuck off with that. Like, you watch a baby elephant grab hold of its mother's tail, and it learns it from another one. Nah, like bees are cool and everything, and they got the whole like, oh look, there's honey 27 kilometers over to this way. That's cool, but you watch you watch an elder mum, like matriarch elephant lead her group back to the graveyard. Come on, there's a whole lot of layers of stuff going on there. Yeah, disagree. Anyway, but you'll see this bias towards the sort of masculinized, swarm-based intelligence gathering, operational, give me the output function type intelligence is huge in this area of research, right? Yeah, not enough female voices, I feel, in some of these areas. Not that they necessarily be better; they might have their own problems, But it's good to have diversity, yeah. Anyway, yeah. Greater neuroplasticity is linked to higher intelligence and regenerative capability. A striking example is the flatworm planaria, which is one of the classic model organisms. They love working on planaria because it's got a little short lifespan, which can fully regenerate their nervous system, including a 2-lobe brain, but also the whole body, exhibiting almost sheer immortality. Wow, yeah. While genes were traditionally viewed as the primary drivers of organ development, recent research suggests that bioelectric signals, biomechanical triggers, training, and non-neural memory also plays crucial roles in instructing this adaptation. Yes. Yeah, like there's a lot more information stored within our biology than people generally give us credit for. Yeah. So, and like, like I love it when science gets all hippie like, and it kind of converges on stuff that like, people with ancient wisdom kind of knew. But like, yes, we are the sum of everything. Everything you think, do, act, interact with, happen unconsciously within you is you, right? And it all matters, and the timing of it matters, and what happened before matters. Yeah, yeah, it's all really important stuff. Anyway, we're going a bit long now, so we'll have to break this section into two. So yeah, brain development and critical regions. We'll come back and go through the figure and how he relates that brain development to AI. So at the moment we just got the biology bit, and then we can crack on with more of this later. Yeah. Oh yeah, a lot of big themes. That's why I like this one. It introduced a lot of the deep biological themes, and I think it really stirred up things that some threads got picked up on, but there's still more to give on this, So, yeah, really, really, really insightful when you look deeply at how biological brain development occurs and how we're still so basic in terms of trying to replicate that in terms of our AIs. And just hope that it doesn't harm them in any way.